Scottsdale residents consider legal action to oppose Axon headquarters despite zoning approval by Governor Hobbs. Headline in a story from our friends over at Fox 10. So let's get into this for a moment. I'm going to lay out, again, I'm giving you one side of the story, but it's the side that I subscribe to. The people at Axon, and Axon is an Arizona-based business. I think the history of this matters because the CEO of Axon is an Arizona guy. It does not want to go anywhere, although they have many options. So Rick Smith is the CEO. Started his company in a garage here in Arizona with an engineer. They were Taser. If we all know what those personal protection, less lethal protection for law enforcement. That's where they made their money, so to speak, at the beginning, was less lethal for officers. They've turned into Axon, which are the body-worn cameras all over the world. That it is not just providing the cameras, but the storage. And so they've become this multi-billion dollar, $40 billion industry or business. But it's an Arizona-based business. They have an opportunity right now. Florida would write them a check. They have a place in Miami where they can go and build their headquarters. But Rick Smith wants his business here. As a matter of fact, in this studio, he said, we are not leaving Arizona. We're being pushed out of Arizona. We're fighting to stay in Arizona. So he went to the city of Scottsdale. They did their due diligence. They went through planning and zoning. They were approved unanimously in zoning. They went to the full vote of the city council. They won by a majority of the city council approval. And what they did was they changed the zoning of the land they owned so that they could not just build their world headquarters, but a campus that included retail and residential. And it was approved. So they got ready. They got the permits. They were ready to break ground. And an organization came in. They went out. They got signatures to try to force a ballot initiative to stop construction until the 2026 election. So in response to that, Axon has said, we did everything we were supposed to do. It's bad for us as a business, and it's bad for any other potential business that's coming here, that you can do your due diligence. And it costs millions of dollars. You buy the land, you hire the lawyers, you have the architects, you go through planning and zoning. It's an expensive process to begin with. You do everything the law requires, and then they go and undercut you because a group of people don't like it. It was a political maneuver that was successful. I'm giving you my opinion now. So Axon went and did what they thought was the right thing. And it isn't just for them, and I believe this to be true. It's not just for Axon. This is for any business in Arizona that's going to come here, because we have done an excellent job in the last decade of becoming a much more business-friendly environment, where we have moderated regulation, we have moderated taxes, and we have become a very business-friendly environment where industry is coming here. TSMC and Intel's expansion and others, and the Googles of the world and Apples of the world are coming to Arizona and putting down roots, along with many other manufacturing and other stuff has come here. But if an organization's going to come here and they want to do something like this, that they can go through planning and zoning in the city review and then be told no. And there's a vote coming up in Glendale, a mail-in vote coming up in Glendale about land uses where the Vi Resort is. The Vi Resort is out in the West Valley right by State Farm Stadium. It's just to the south of State Farm Stadium on the east side of the 101. It's massive, and it's a beautiful resort. Well, they want to build a parking garage. An organization came in, and it's a California union organization that wanted to unionize the workers at the resort. Couldn't make a deal with the resort, so they went out. This organization got voter signatures or out in the community. So now it's got to go to a vote of whether or not this land can be used for a parking garage that's necessary. Same groups of people did the same thing to Axon in Scottsdale. And an out-of-state organization wants to unionize, can't make a deal, so they're going to force a deal. So they're going to force Axon out so that another more friendly company can come in, and then in a right-to-work state like Arizona, these unions can put down roots. That's my belief. That is what I believe is happening. So Axon wins. The state legislature formalizes a piece of legislation that allows corporations that are spending this kind of money to build a campus that would include residential and include commercial. We need the housing. This is what bothers me. And I love Scottsdale. And I want to be clear about this. This is the one time that the mayor of Scottsdale and I have disagreed on something. I think the world of the mayor of Scottsdale. I'm happy she won the office. And I don't live in Scottsdale, but I'm very happy for her. And so this is not a slap at her at all. We just disagree on this issue. And I think this is an example of how people that respect each other can disagree. I'd love to have her on the show to talk about this and give her the time she wants to tell her side of the story. But what bothers me about this is we all agree we have a housing shortage in Arizona. And what's fascinating about that is, yes, we do, but not in Scottsdale. Scottsdale's got all the apartments they need. They have all the multifamily they need. This is going to cause more traffic. And the idea is you build a campus that has housing on the campus. You don't have as much traffic. You're going to have traffic. But there are people that are living in a small community. They're doing the exact same thing at the site of the old Paradise Valley Mall, which is doing wonderfully in that campus now. The mall was torn down. This is now going to be multi-use. They've got restaurants and all this retail going in that's already in there. And then you're going to have housing. You're going to have all commercial. All of those things are there. Same thing is happening at Metro Center. I'm guessing the same thing is going to happen at the old Fiesta Mall location in Mesa. But for some reason, Scottsdale says, yes, you can do it everywhere else in the valley, but not in Scottsdale, which is fine if the city council goes that way. Now, try to get something passed through this zoning in Scottsdale now and the city council in Scottsdale now. It probably doesn't get approved. That's all well and good. But they got it approved. They did their due diligence. They obeyed the law. They obeyed the rules. They spent the money, millions of dollars. And the economic impact of this for the valley, Scottsdale too, but for the entire valley, you're talking, I think, $3 billion a year, something like that in revenue. It's a $40 billion company. The majority of the jobs that will be at this world headquarters are going to be six-figure jobs. Those people will be paying income taxes and shopping at high-end places and buying cars and buying homes. These are the kinds of industry we want here, whether or not they're Arizona-based. This one happens to be Arizona-based. The only thing that Scottsdale doesn't like about this is that it's being built in Scottsdale. They would love this if it was 2 miles to the west in Phoenix. They would have no problem. So it's not the project itself. They don't want it here, not in my backyard. And I just don't think that's fair. If you go a couple of miles to the west, there's been a $2 billion investment from Mayo Clinic. Mayo is reimagining healthcare on a campus expansion at Tatum and the 101. It's in Mayo Boulevard, but the major cross streets are Tatum and the 101 in the North Valley. And it is going to be a major investment in healthcare with, again, high-paying jobs and people coming and buying homes and needing a place to live. And yes, it's going to add traffic to an already congested area. Everything around Desert Ridge is congested. And it's going to get more congested until they do something about the roads there. No one's complaining about Mayo Clinic. It is a fabulous idea. So is Axon. And if you're going to get a union from out of state that's going to pull a stunt politically, and they did, and they have legislators that agree with them, and that I just happen to respect but disagree with, then Axon, playing the game of chess along with others, protecting themselves and other businesses, played the game of chess, and they won. Now there's going to be litigation, probably, and we'll see what the Supreme Court in the state of Arizona decides if it goes to litigation. But it's a step in the right direction, in my opinion, but it is one step closer to a permanent resolution, which I think is the best part of it.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.